was a point where I couldn't picture him not in my life. He had this powerful presence and persona, which I know everybody's heard before, but it is true. And he just came in and literally took over, and he became quite the protector for me and my family. He just got very, very protective of us.
Now, did you ever foresee, I mean, in the months or even weeks that you had been dating him, that he was planning on proposing to you?
Oh, no, that was quite, well, when we were in Las Vegas and I was at his engagement, he was there from December, well, I believe it was December 2nd through the 12th. At one point, we were sitting in his bed and talking and reading over some of his books, and he said, you know, when I close my eyes, I can envision you in this long white gown. And I was like, is he saying what I think he's thinking? And it was just little comments like that, but it ended up being on January 26th. I was sitting at Graceland. The two of us were in his daughter Lisa's bedroom, and Elvis got up and left the room for a moment. And he was gone for a little bit, and I went in to see where he was, and he was talking on the phone. And so I went back into Lisa's room, and there was a fair amount of commotion going on, activity, people coming up and down the stairs talking to him. And finally, at one point, Elvis comes back in Lisa's room, takes me by the hand, and walks to his dressing area to his bathroom. And there was a chair in his bathroom, and he had me sit down in that. And he started saying some really, really beautiful things to me. And he got down on bended knee and pulls a green velvet box from behind his back and says to me, you know, I've been searching for love for so long. I've been 60% happy, 40% happy, never 100%. Never did I think I'd find it in my own backyard. And then he goes, I'm asking you, will you marry me? And I was blown away. I did say yes. I did say
wow.
Yes. But it was just a beautiful, beautiful memory for me. And then we stepped outside, and his friend Charlie Hodge gave me a little backgammon game as like a little engagement gift. And, yeah, Elvis kept asking me to hold up my hand, and the ring was absolutely beautiful. And I didn't know until years later that the stone for my engagement ring had been taken from his TCB ring that he loved and wore on stage.
Yeah, that seems to have been, there's two things that kind of brought this conversation between you and I up. And one is that, you know, a lot of people, for some reason, they just don't want to accept, or they don't want to believe that you and Elvis were engaged, and that they somehow think he was on this tailspin in life and that he wasn't happy and this and that. And I even read a comment on my channel 2 days ago where somebody said, why would Elvis have married Ginger after just a couple of months when he was with Linda for so many years? Why do you think you were more special than anyone else, or what was the connection that made you think that it was real? Well,
you know, the amazing thing is, you know, his own father had mentioned about our engagement, and his jeweler talked about making the ring. And, you know, it's not someone being better over someone else by any means. I think all I know is, from what Elvis told me, I think his relationship with Linda, there were just different things he had told me in the course of our time together. And I think when Linda met him, he was still married. He was just coming off the tail end of that. He was separated. But I think it was soon. I think their first year went well. And then I think things started to change a little bit after the second year. And I think it may have been too soon for him. I don't know Linda. I've never met her. But from what I understand, there were other women in and out throughout that time period. And even when I met him, he told me that his stepbrother Ricky had said, you brought a lot of girls up here in the past few weeks, because he'd been off of a tour. And he said, I'm sure I'm going to meet somebody I really like on a Friday night. So I think their relationship had been off and on, and different girls in and out. And I just think, I do think he was ready. I was blessed. I mean, it amazed me that all this had happened, but right. I think we did have a connection, and I think, as I said, I just think he was ready.
And I think it shows with your engagement ring how special Elvis found you, because the other thing that we were trying to clear up with this interview is that you have a Facebook page where you dispel rumors, and people will write in and ask you questions. And one of the comments was somebody had said they had taken a VIP tour and the archives of Graceland during Elvis Week, and that the TCB ring was shown to them there, but they said that they didn't display it because there was some unclear history to the ring. And like you said, I actually went and found Lowell Hays and asked Lowell Hays the history of Elvis coming to get your ring.
When he wanted stuff, he wanted it now.
He did. Yeah.
Now, there's a crazy story.
He didn't even quit. He just expected it there. It didn't matter if it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Was he your best customer?
At that time he was.
Yeah. Now, I had heard the kind of the crazy story was that he called and said, I want you to do an engagement ring, but you said, I can't make that for you. I don't have a stone that big. Can you tell that story?
Well, I've told it numerous times, but he said he wanted an engagement ring made for a ginger with a stone the size of the stone in his TCB ring. And I said, where am I going to get an 11.5 carat diamond in the middle of the night, Elvis? And he said, well, I don't know, but that's what I want. And I said, well, I can't get an 11.5 carat diamond in the middle of the night. He said, okay, I'll find it somewhere else. I said, okay. I went back to sleep. And in about a half hour, the phone rings again. He said, Lowell, sir, he said, I got to have an engagement ring, and I got to have it tonight. What are you going to do? I said, I don't know, Elvis, but I can't do this. So he said, okay. So I tried to go back to sleep, and I thought about, he wants a ring with a diamond the size of the TCB ring. So I called him back. And I said, Elvis, why don't I just take the diamond out of your TCB ring and make her a ring? He said, that's great, come get it. So I drove out to Graceland, got the TCB ring, called my jeweler, my diamond setter, meet me at my jewelry store at 3 o'clock in the morning. And we had a mounting that it would fit. So we mounted the stone, took it back out to Elvis, and then I put a CZ in his TCB ring until I could find him a diamond, and the CZ never got replaced. So his TCB ring that's on display at Graceland is the original ring, and it has a CZ in it.
So how can this be something that people are unclear about?
Well, I think there are some things, there's been a little rewrite of history, or a large rewrite of history in a lot of ways, and they don't like to promote another woman in Elvis's life, or that he was happy, he was looking forward to marriage. That seems to have been swept under the carpet here. I think some people get different stories. Some people will, when you do take the tour, they do show the ring, but they don't bring up the fact that, oh, by the way, this was given to his fiance. They just don't talk about it. Or they will say, well, we're not sure, there are different stories with that. And I thought, there are no different stories with that. That is the story. It's been told, it's been documented, so I think it would be nice if it were actually told, if they are going to present the ring, to explain about the center stone being taken out and made into my engagement ring.
Especially considering the fact that he didn't keep your engagement a secret. Other people in his circle knew. He made comments on stage. I mean, it wasn't like you were just some secret. The tabloids were following you around trying to take photos of you.
Well, he was, it's funny, I think when we were in Las Vegas in the beginning, Paul Harvey used to be on the radio, and they were talking about Elvis getting married that weekend. I've heard various stories from different people. I had no idea what was going on at the time. But of course, that wasn't the case then. We weren't engaged then. But, Elvis wanted it to be special, and he knew the ramifications if he brought it up early on. And as I said, he was so protective of me and my family. So he didn't, and his daughter also didn't know until later about it, and she certainly seemed okay with it. I remember at one point she said, "I'm going to call you mommy in front of my own mom." I remember Elvis and I looked at each other, and I was like, "Well, this may not go over well. I don't know how that will be," but we certainly were engaged, and we had also set a wedding date, and I've lived on that all these years. That was in the early morning hours of August 16th when we came back from the dentist. We set a wedding date for December 25th. Elvis was always saying, God only knows. God will come through and tell me when the time is right. That's all he talked about throughout our relationship. So I thought, well, God came through then, and I've lived on that. And he, Elvis would tell me things. He said, when we're together, it's like my father hates to leave the room. And, you know, he said, my father told me the other day that it was the first time he saw the little boy put overalls on back in East Tupelo.
That's wonderful.
And I was blown away because you wanted people to like you. You know, I was very shy. I was young, but unfortunately for me, I didn't get a chance. You know, Elvis kept me secluded upstairs with him a lot, and then on tour, you're just, you know, fast-paced and in the room with him again, and I didn't get to know a lot of the guys, but there was an extreme. I remember when Elvis and I first got engaged, he said, you know, be prepared, a lot of people will be jealous of you, and I thought he meant the fans, which is understandable, a lot of women, but I had no idea of the in-house jealousies that were swirling around him all the years before I even came on the scene, and what happened, especially for me afterward. I just don't think a lot of the guys ever wanted him to remarry anyone. I think they were afraid their world might change, and which is sad to me. And I understand after Elvis passed, I understood there was some stuff going on trying to break us up, and it didn't work, but that makes me sad.